if you're wanting to push yourself into bigger waves, it's important to get yourself a bigger board, because not only will it allow you to paddle out faster in between the sets, it'll allow you to get into position quicker and paddle into the waves a lot easier. So if you're wanting to leave your comfort zone and start pushing yourself with the bigger surf, then a bigger board is a must, because you will see top riders out there riding big waves on small boards, but that's generally because those riders are very comfortable in those waves and they're not actually out of their comfort zone. So they can afford to play with smaller equipment. So you might see like the likes of your John Florence out there riding waves bigger than some of us would ever want to paddle into, and they're just riding like a step up board. You know, they've gone from their 5.8 up to like a 6.1 or something stupid, but that's because they're within their comfort zone. You see those guys and girls when they start going out into big waves, which are up a lot more closer to their limit and their comfort zones, you'll see them take out much bigger boards. It's one thing to have a longer, wider board, but if you're getting a bigger board for bigger waves, you want to make sure that board's a lot thicker, because then there's a lot less chance of that board breaking. Whereas, like I say, you go out and get it longer and wider, but it's still not that thick, the chances of that snapping are quite high. So you really want to beef the board up all round, and thickness is definitely your friend when it comes to surfing bigger waves. So yeah, if you're wanting to push yourself in the bigger surf, get yourself a bigger board. The other thing is, when you get that bigger board, is make sure you get yourself a longer, thicker leash, because when you come into surfing bigger waves, when you come off a bigger wave, you're not going to want that board too close to you. And also, if you're having to bail or anything like that, you're not going to want too much tension on that leash. And if you've got a shorter leash on, there's going to be a lot more tension on that leash and a much higher chance of it snapping. So even if you're only getting a slightly longer, thicker, wider board, you want to put a much longer, thicker leash on it. Like the board that I've got here is beefed up 6.6, but it's got a sort of 8 to 10 foot leash on it. Well, it was 8 foot, and I took it out on a bigger day and it came in and it was 10 foot. But you'll probably find a lot of the guys and girls that are even surfing those smaller boards in bigger waves, they will actually have a longer, thicker leash on them, because if you come off a wave like that, you're going to want that board to go away from you, while at the same time you want it to remain attached to you. So yes, if you're going out in the bigger surf, get yourself a bigger board. I went out on a bigger day last winter and I just took a mini mal in, and I did put a nice long thick leash on it, but the only thing is because the mini mal itself wasn't necessarily designed for bigger surf, it wasn't that much thicker. So it inevitably ended up coming back as 2 little boards. Some people don't like going out in bigger waves on the bigger board for the pure reason that it's so much harder to get that board under the water. Trying to duck dive a thicker, bigger board is sometimes near on impossible. I think what it is you just have to accept that when you go out into certain size waves, rather than duck diving or Eskimo rolling, you're going to have to bail. You know, if you see the guys and girls surfing like Big Pipeline or out at Waimea or something, when a set comes around the corner and they've been caught out, you don't see anyone trying to duck dive or Eskimo roll it. It's like, they're out of there. They see that coming and it's swim for the bottom. And again, that's where you're going to want that longer, thicker leash. And the same, the thicker board, so it can take that beating, and the leash being longer allows you to swim a lot deeper. Whereas if you've got a shorter leash on, you're going to be sort of stuck near the top, being that your board is a flotation device and isn't going to come under the water with you. So yeah, it's the realization is when you're riding these bigger, thicker boards, is the chances are you get caught out by a big set, you're just going to have to bail. And that's where just having good kit. Another key point as well is making sure your leash string and everything is good on the back of your board, and that you've checked it and you're not going in the sort of, nice thick, long leash, you've got your board and all that, and you've got a dodgy, frayed little bit of string on the back that just dink. So yeah, check your equipment before you enter the water.